Hey, welcome to my review of Coming Out On Top, the gay video game that is gay but not anime, surprisingly enough. Now, I say this is a review, but it's basically going to be me gushing about how much I love this thing, with like hardly any complaints, and I promise it's really good, and my gushing is within reason. Alright, so I actually discovered this game shortly after it was released, and I saw it on Tumblr. It was a Kickstarter project by some lady, yeah, lady, I know, right? With the company named Obscurasoft, and basically the thing took off and blew up, and it was well funded by the end of the project. The game itself is a visual novel sort of game built off of the Python engine RenPy, an engine great for making these sorts of things, and its design is very all-American gay fantasy aesthetic, and that pretty much never comes out on these kinds of platforms. The anime aesthetic was completely moved over for the original and very satisfying art of the creator. The story follows Mark Matthews with his coming out adventures with his roommates and in story impressive fish and just with college in general. You can earn your path with 5 different guys: Ian, Brad, Alex, Jed, and Phil. Bert. Yeah, I know. Philbert. Each route actually takes a very interesting turn of events and a very well planned out course of options that take you to their endings. I'm looking at you, Katawa Shoujo. But I'm not very good at these sorts of reviews, so we're gonna just dive right into the hopefully not too spoiler route information and why they're all great. Now with all 5 guys, their stories all take great turns in opposing directions with storytelling, types of development, and series outcome. It really makes an effort to turn a blind eye to the generic visual novel archetypes of everyone being in the same situation, harming the player, but using their routes to show their tragic past. Instead, you get the wonderful luxury of meeting your selection of characters and going onward from there. Stories ranging from cliché denial stories with a wild twist to emotionally unstable dramas, there's for sure a good story for everyone in this game. But starting with my favorite route of them all is Ian's. His route is one of the more popular among the quickly growing communities of Reddit and Tumblr, with his struggle coming out to you as a possible love interest due to your already very strong pre-existing friendship. The wild twist on how you'll actually get to be with him is certainly unexpected and exciting, but on top of goodies from every sexual demographic in the game, it really creates an emotionally secure ending that gave me closure as a person, and it was just really nice, and it's a really big goldmine of character development and discovery. But then through an offbeat opportunity, you meet your other option for romantic sunshine, Brad. The gingery, sweet football player that fell off the horse and now you're there to pick him back up. His story was probably the most cliche of them all, but in a sweet and precious way. The smart tutor boy that saves the troubled popular guy end up getting together while family members don't really approve. The build-up and character development here isn't very strong, but the feel-good environment and high school 2002 movie ending made everything absolutely worth it. Going on from the happy-go-lucky story of Brad, we get the emotional roller coaster that's Alex. The story that you assume is going to be the goofy and exceptionally hot professor-student relationship turns sour when the conflicting interests of characters arise. This story was a personal favorite of mine because you meet characters that take you for a ride rather than just complimenting the circumstances, such as unstable clown Edwina and the antagonist of the route, Graham. Saving your teacher's butt while simultaneously winning his heart in the end and keeping within the boundaries of reality and rules really made it a truly satisfying ending with an exceptionally adventurous story to back it up. Okay, so the story is really bittersweet to me, so I have a bit to say about it. Your other option is this guy named Jed. He's a very edgy punk guy that knows what he wants and how to get it. What I do love about this story is that he really brings out the other side of your character, Mark. Your character being a very studious individual who's always been within the boundaries, Jed's personality certainly creates scenarios that you would never otherwise be put in. Introducing all of his bandmates such as Dart, Vince, and Jade, they really make his story hilariously interesting while dealing with the weird fuckery that is Jed. Even though the story really creates a strong backstory to Jed's childhood and really makes him open up to you, the ending left me disappointed because of the end. It just led to wild sex scenarios all over again. Really made me feel like I did 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, being now that I'm a part of the antics that I would preach against in the story initially. Transitioning from the edgy punk boy Jed, we come to the completely polar episode with a golden character named Philbert who I feel is very unappreciated, but goes by Phil because of obvious reasons. He's a very traditional, reserved, and suited up Marine that is the cousin of your roommate Penny. His story was literally the most hilarious of them all. I felt like all of the previous routes really made an effort to try and create different types of stories with different genres and ways of telling the stories, and this one did it as well, but it just did it so hilariously that it became a favorite of mine. Getting off to a rocky start, your relationship really likes to take its time, and you're more in for a ride of snarky commentary and weird out-of-the-ordinary scenarios than the rest of the game portrays. With the trivia minigame and the introduction of Violet Patrick and the expansion of Penny's more than sassy personality, it's a golden story straight to the precious and heartwarming ending. A sincerely different story despite it not having extreme characters or a weird turn of events. But God, there's still so much I haven't covered, but it's best if you just meet them all yourself. But you think the story itself makes the game perfect? Even if you had issues with the stories or how characters are portrayed or whatever you could even think of, the bonus content and side bits of the game really reminds us all what kind of game it really came from. A normal person who wanted to make their own game and is really just like us. The Easter egg scenario endings and tidbits while hanging out with your friends really make the game absolutely worth continually reading instead of skimming text to get to the next scenario. Just a few of these gems, but not limited to, such as Ian wanting a henna tattoo of dick butt on his butt with a tattoo of dick butt, a dog having explosive diarrhea everywhere while you're on a walk, and to the pop culture references and trivia sprinkled throughout the game that's relative to your companion's interests. It's really got a lot of fun tidbits in between. And with Obscurasoft promising expansions and DLC as well as patches already being released, it's only going to get better. Honestly, the game is just great, okay? Really, play it. I have no idea how to wrap up these videos, but it's an insanely well-scripted game with a great direction, unique characters, and the existence of it is one of a kind, and should definitely be tried out by anyone who's willing to play a gay-themed game outside of dramatical murder and old Flash games.